Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am Dr. Mariane Pinkston, and going to bring you another wonderful session today talking about different types of toxicities. I've spent a lot of time in recent past on mold toxicity, but there is a question that many patients ask me very often about metals and metal toxicity. So there's different types of toxins out there. We've talked about environmental, we've talked about a lot of things, but metal toxicity is the highlight today. And I have a wonderful guest, Dr. Wendie Trubow, who wrote a book recently, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, and talked about metal toxicity. I think you are an OB-GYN. Am I correct? And welcome in. I'm glad to have you on.
It's great to be here, Marianne. Yes, and I was classically trained as an OB-GYN. Yeah.
And so like most of us who get into integrative medicine, we have a story, and that story brings us to an odd place where then we wind up taking care of a lot of people outside of our usual, training in contemporary medicine. I'm assuming that's what happened to you.
Totally. Right. I mean, I was just living my life. And then my story has two major camel humps. The first one, it's like a camel with the two humps. So the first one is I have terrible genes. I'm a child of the 70s. And so we ate sloppy joes, and then the microwaves came in, and, fast forward, I lived a very stressful life. And then at 35, I was diagnosed with celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease reaction to gluten. Okay, that's hump one, but that was my introduction to functional medicine. And then fast forward, I spend the next 13, 14 years working on my body, got into functional medicine. And then the next camel hump happens at 48. And I returned from this amazing vacation in France. And promptly after coming back, not in France, after returning, I gained 9 pounds, lost half the hair on my head, got a rash on my face, was exhausted. My brain stopped working. I'm like, what's going on?
Right.
Took me a few months. And then the reports started coming out around Notre Dame, that when Notre Dame burned, it released 500 tons of lead dust into the surrounding community. And the closer you were, the more you got. And the farther you were, the less you got. That makes sense, right? I was right there for a week. And I remember saying, God, it's so dusty. And we were slogging through lead dust. And when I came home, I was sick. And that really opened my eyes into the world of toxins that we live in, because, I'm just living my life. I'm the poster child for healthy living. I haven't eaten gluten. I don't even eat the replacements for gluten. I don't drink alcohol. I don't eat sugar. I exercise. I get enough sleep. And here I am, a hot mess.
Thank you. Absolutely. And so very, very common. And lead, if you step back and look at what the FDA allows for us to be exposed to, I think there's something like, I'm going to be very off on my numbers. You correct me, please. But, like 50,000 different toxins that are approved here in the United States are not approved overseas, that we are exposed to in our plastics and our makeup and, all of our products every day. Not to mention how we grew up as kids. Many of us lived in lead-based paint homes, and, even down to, and even down to our, protein shakes that we drink. I try to educate people very often that our protein shakes can have heavy metals, associated with it, arsenic, lead, things like that. And so people really do not know that they have a very wide exposure to toxins. Am I correct on that? I mean, no, numbers may have been totally off.
No, you're totally right. So one thing I will say is, in the United States, you only have to prove that it's not outrageously unsafe.
Exactly.
And you don't have to prove any of that until even after bringing it to market. So when you think about the hundreds of thousands of chemicals that have been produced, they haven't been tested for safety. Absolutely. Some of them have been tested because they were shown to be unsafe. That's only when they get tested. They don't get tested before they get put into your products. So your products are not safe unless you've really tracked all the ingredients. So that's one. Yeah, it's really important. And then the other thing that you said that I just want to really highlight is we have tons of exposures, and it's actually getting worse. It's not getting better.
No, from something I read too, that they allow at least 6,000 to 8,000 more chemicals in each year, and again, not tested. But I read something recently where they may we'll see if this happens, but there's an undertaking to begin to study some of these things to try to I think the crowds have spoken, and that they are going to try to take this on, that it would take a full decade to go through each and every, well, there's no way they can do that. A decade is the understatement. So, we have allowed a lot in. It's going to take a lot to get this out because the industry makes too much money off of it. What do you see as the underlying basis of all this?
Yeah, I think there's so many things that go into this, right? We pride ourselves in not wanting to have too much government control. Okay, right. That's cool, except the government is not involved in keeping us safe. And so if we want this to change, it really comes down to you, when you buy something, that you check, is it safe? How do you do that? Well, my favorite site is Environmental Working Group, EWG.org. There's an app, there's the Think Dirty, and there's the Yucca app. And all of them will help you choose products that are not toxic. So you go, at least on EWG, you can scan it, you scan the barcode, and it'll give you a rating. Aim for 1 or 2, right? Like, don't aim for number 10, that's dirty. And so I'm a huge proponent of, if we're not going to have the government involved, we need to take responsibility. So anything you buy, as you're buying it, right, don't go through your whole house and go crazy, because it is really anxiety provoking. So start with, what are you buying tomorrow? Lipstick, makeup, blush, whatever, hair product, shampoo. That's a perfect opportunity to level up and check it before you buy it.
Absolutely. And my patients have heard EWG.org very, very often. It's an app and it's a website. So people can go and look at that. We'll have all this on our website then coming up when the show airs. So if somebody is feeling, and I know you said that you have a free gift to people that they can go to your website and go through a checklist and check their symptoms and then tell us what you've got.
Yeah. So let's back up a step. You might be wondering, okay, do I have toxins? And my answer, here's the spoiler. Yes, you live on this earth, you have toxins. If you live on this earth and you're listening, you have toxins. So the question is then, are they harming me? And how bad is it? Right. So we have a quiz that you can take to understand, like, well, how toxic am I? It's not emotional toxicity, just for the record. You can't give it to someone who you're like, they're really emotionally. No, it's not going to work for that.
That's another show.
Totally another conversation. And then we also have the first chapter of the book, because when I figured out how toxic I was, I said to my husband, we need to get the word out. And it's called Dirty Girl, because I got all these tests and I looked at him and I went, I'm such a dirty girl. And we're writing that book because I'm the poster child for healthy living. But you can't be like, healthy living poster child is not a good title, right? So you get chapter 1 of the book, and you also get a non-toxic guide to healthy living, because everybody wants to be healthy, but we might not know how to navigate that. And so the book and the guide are really, really meant to be a roadmap to help you get out of where you are and into where you want to be.
Love it. And so again, we'll have all that on the website. Now, I brought that up initially first, because I know people are wondering, how do I know? How do I know I'm toxic? And what you explained, how you felt waking up, losing your hair like that, feeling so fatigued. I mean, there's so many different things that can cause a lot of those symptoms. But the thing that most doctors, contemporary physicians, do not test for is toxins and toxicity. We got to go through the thyroid, the adrenals, the hormones, all those things are very important. Absolutely. But not enough physicians, I think, focus on the toxins and toxicity. Why do you think that is?
I just think it's like asking your plumber to do your electrical work. They have a different set of tools in their toolbox. So when you ask them to do the toxins work, they just haven't been trained. They're not bad people. They're not bad doctors, hopefully, but they just don't have the right tools. So you're asking them to do the wrong thing. Absolutely. And I want to highlight something you said. And I'm going to basically take a torch to what everybody thinks about aging. Everybody thinks that as you age, you get sicker. And my response is no. As you age, you get more toxins. They're extremely inflammatory. They throw the system into a state of chaos. And then you develop a symptom like thyroid, brain fog, hair loss, high blood pressure, diabetes, PCOS, metabolic syndrome, obesity, bad periods, heavy periods, female issues, right? Fertility issues, and then heavy periods, too heavy, too light, difficulty losing weight, asthma, you name it. And my argument is that you have toxins because they're inflammatory, and you're not getting sicker because you're getting older. You're getting sicker because you're more toxic.
Thank you. I love that. And I think Mark Hyman said it too, that, or Daniel Katz, or somebody that, aging doesn't have to be a disease. This is something that we suffer because of what's around us and inside of us. And so beautifully put. Thank you. I'm glad you pointed that out. And so how does, and I love too, thank you for explaining to patients or to people about, different types of physicians, because contemporary trained, we are not trained on these types of issues. And again, every integrative doctor, functional doctor has a story. I have one too of how I woke up, with rheumatoid arthritis one day, mold, these things, but that is where we finally go and seek training. And I know you work with A4M, the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Regenerative Medicine, as well as I. And that is where we receive a lot of training. But when a patient, looks for a doctor, how do they find somebody that can help them?
Yeah, I actually always recommend looking through the IFM website, because they have a list of participants and certified practitioners. And so that's an easy low bar where you can go, okay, they're close to me. You can sort by distance. A lot of people do online telehealth. And so you can work with them on that. We have a bricks and mortar. So if you're dying to go to Massachusetts, you can come to Massachusetts and establish.
I'm dying to go to Massachusetts and hot Texas. I'm coming.
Actually, it's nice here. It's 70 degrees and kind of cloudy today. It's nice weather. So so there's a lot of ways you can find it. If you search in functional medicine near me, you really want to see a functional medicine provider, because that's their focus. Their focus is on untangling the root cause rather than band-aiding the symptom.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And keeping the pharmaceuticals out. I know that my thought is in the next probably 10 years and probably sooner than that, I think everybody is going to have some form of an autoimmune disease. I think they're
Marianne, it's from 2011 to 2022, the worldwide spending on autoimmune diseases went from 20 billion to 140 billion.
Wow.
In 11 years. If my IRA did that, I'd be psyched. This is not my IRA. This is spending. This is money out, not money in. So it's horrifying.
Yeah. I think everybody will have some form of it. Even my children have it. They're so young. It's maddening to think about where we are headed with all this. So what's the answer? How do you feel like we'll ever get out of this?
Yeah, I think it's really challenging. The first thing you want to remember is perfection only exists on that amazing Hollywood finished product of a movie, right? So your life isn't a movie. Your life is your life. So it's not going to be perfect. It's a little bit messy. You're not going to nail it on the first time. You'll make mistakes, but the goal is to systematically, intentionally level up. You run out of something. You need a new house cleaner. Cool. That's a good opportunity. Level up. My favorite brand. Can I say brands?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
My favorite brand for cleaning my house is Aspen Clean, because they have dishwashing detergent, laundry detergent, floor cleaner, bathroom cleaner, window cleaner, you name it, stain remover. They have all of it. And so, I have 4 kids. My brain space is this much on a good day. And so it's on auto ship. It actually just arrived the other day and I'm happy, right? So as you run out, there's a tremendous opportunity to level up. There's certain things you're not going to be able to level up, right? If you take public transportation or you drive a car, those both have tremendous numbers of chemicals. There's 10,000 chemicals in the car. There's thousands of chemicals in the public transportation. So you're not going to level that up. But when you get to where you're going, you can filter your air. You can filter your water. You can avoid dry cleaning your clothes so that you don't put formaldehyde against your body. Your skin is your biggest organ, and it will help you thrive or dive. So if you absorb chemicals, guess what? Then you have to process and excrete them. So try to minimize how many chemicals you're absorbing. Start there.
And then always the basics of, eating well and exercising, drinking plenty of water. It's not about all the supplements, your closet full of supplements that you're taking necessarily. Those help too. But about just keeping the basics and keeping yourself, healthy and living a good life. And that's hard to do too. Our foods are a whole other show as well about what we're exposed to on that level. And so
that's foundational. Excuse me, Marianne. That is foundational, actually. You can't do detox in a traditional sense where people think of, get that metal out of me, until you've managed your food, your sleep, your stress, your movement, the ideas that you have, the way you think. You have to manage that, and your gut, right? Don't forget your gut. You have to manage that before you move on. That's absolutely foundational. And it's like a waste of time to talk about all the cool stuff with detox. Just try to not fill up the pump. And I'm sorry for interrupting, but I was like, wait.
No, great. Thank you. That's what you're here for. Thank you. And that is great advice, and something, we all as integrative physicians try to get across to people every day. Patients ask me for certain tests, for certain treatments and therapies and things that they can do. And they don't realize that just by stopping by their fast food on the way home and going home and sitting and watching TV and Netflix at night, not getting any exercise, things like that, not drinking enough water during the day. Those are the things, the basics that are so important. Sleep, like you mentioned, gut, those are all the foundations. And we are failing miserably as a society on those ends, and all the stress. You mentioned at the beginning, your stressors that led into that. Absolutely. So it has a lot to do with that. And then I know we're getting ready to kind of come close to our break here, but I want to hear more about the book and how we can find information on the book and information on you.
Awesome. The best way to find me is let me start with the book. The book is found on Amazon. That's the best way to buy it. You can also buy it at drwendie.com, but we don't have Prime shipping on drwendie.com. So you might go to Amazon for that. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Wendie Trubow MD, or Facebook also at Wendie Trubow MD. And then we have a bricks and mortar, 5journeys.com, for people who want to dive deep. And then we have our online brand that has testing and coaching and supplements at drwendie.com. So there's kind of different ways to participate.
Perfect. And I will have all of that on my website too. And so you can find all of this information as well as other shows and other information, more information on me as well at drpbetterlife.com. I have a blog there and, plenty of links to all the platforms where the podcast and YouTube and all of that airs. So you can find all of this there at drpbetterlife.com. I do have a couple of sponsors I'll throw in real quickly because they've been very, very good to me, and I appreciate them helping me grow over the last 2 years. It's been amazing. So Pinnacle Research is a fatty liver research here in South Texas, which is Dr. Wendie is rampant in South Texas. And so you can go to pinnacleresearch.com. You can sign up, get yourself scheduled for a free FibroScan. I did it. It's 10 minutes, was the easiest thing I ever did. Got a lot of information. I have autoimmune hepatitis to add to rheumatoid arthritis and everything else. They were wonderful. I had a doctor come in, and not just because I'm a doctor, but I had a doctor come in and visit with me afterwards. So pinnacleresearch.com, get scheduled and go do that. I also have Magna Pharmaceuticals. Dr. Lesser and his wife take great care of those who have MTHFR with methylated B12 and folic acid. And so Magna Pharmaceuticals, and I have all that information that will be on the website. We will take a short break, come back on the other side and kind of continue this discussion a little bit more on the Watson House and how to seek help, but we'll be right back.
Fatty liver is linked to two different situations, alcohol and diabetes, or obesity. In both cases, patients can have no symptoms. In the United States, and in particular, Texas, the most common cause of liver disease in general is non-alcoholic fatty liver. Again, associated with overweight, obesity, and or diabetes. Additional risk factors include high cholesterol, high blood pressure, Hispanic ethnicity, and postmenopausal status. At Pinnacle Clinical Research, we offer a quick, non-invasive ultrasound-based screening assessment called FibroScan. This test is done at no cost to you, and we do not take insurance. The test will measure the fat and stiffness in your liver and stage your risk and development of fatty liver disease. You will meet with a provider immediately following your scan to go over your results. If you're interested in getting more information on your liver health, please call 210-529-7978 and schedule your FibroScan today. We are conveniently located in the Medical Center at 5109 Medical Drive.
Depression, anxiety, low energy, weakness, these are just some symptoms of low B12 levels. And the absorbable B12 folate supplement that's helping people declare victory over depression symptoms is De Novo Plus B12 by Magna Pharmaceuticals. Patients with symptoms of depression often exhibit low levels of folate and vitamin B12. The human body needs sufficient folate intake to produce the essential neurotransmitters serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine. These neurotransmitters alleviate feelings of sadness, anxiety, and gloom. What makes De Novo Plus B12 so successful? De Novo Plus B12 contains readily absorbable folate and B12. That means it's more successful at correcting the root cause of your deficiency, not just the symptoms. Whether you are suffering with low energy, depression, fatigue, or anxiety, you owe it to yourself to learn more at magnaweb.com. That's magnaweb.com. Please let us know at checkout that you heard about De Novo Plus B12 on The Better Life with Dr. Pinkston.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Mariane Pinkston here with Dr. Wendie Trubow, who is talking to us about metals toxicity. Again, we've talked about molds and things and other environmental things in the past, but today, metals toxicity, which I think a lot of my patients have wanted me to focus on a little bit. I'm glad we're doing that. So we will kind of cover, I would love for you to cover the things that patients can do today to make themselves, healthier and safer.
Sure. And let's focus on how do you decrease your metal exposures. But remember, all of that's on top of the foundations, right? So you want to decrease your overall burden. So think about what goes in your body. That's your food, your drink, how you're drinking it. So aim for organic, minimally processed food. Try to avoid the pesticides. Try to buy local if you can, so it hasn't been driven across the country.
Right.
Ditch your plastic water bottles, your single-use ones, because they put endocrine disrupting hormones into you, not metals, but other chemicals.
Right.
And then decrease your alcohol. Platform things. I know nobody likes when I say that, but
let's
alcohol
talk about that though.
Okay. It's a full glass of toxins, full on toxins.
Yeah.
So
pesticides. It rains glyphosate now, like you said,
yes.
it's that's what you're drinking is pesticides essentially.
Yes. So don't drink alcohol. Eliminate the single-use plastic water bottles. Don't drink sugar directly. And then level up your food, aim for minimally processed. That's just kind of decreasing the bucket. But then more around food. Arsenic is a very high source of rice. Rice is a very high source of arsenic. So look at the rice that you're eating, have it tested, or see what's tested for the lowest. The white rice, basmati, tends to be lower than the brown rice, even though the brown rice is healthier for you.
Right.
Fish and fillings are a huge source of mercury.
Yep. So
don't eat the high mercury fish, period. It's not like, once a week. No, don't eat it, because one serving is enough for about 3 to 6 months. So if you're eating it every week, a lot of people can't keep up with the mercury burden.
Wow.
Lead. If you are living in a house that has lead pipes, and 10 million homes still have it, you're going to get it there. Yep. You can get it if you got it from, if you were born, your mom likely had lead, so you get 50% of what she had.
Right.
And then cadmium is West Coast oysters and cigarettes. So do your best to minimize those. So those are the metals that you can get. And then if you live near an industrial plant or you eat high fructose corn syrup, those are ways you can get exposed to mercury. So there's a lot of ways.
High fructose corn syrup, really? Wow.
Yes. And high doses of glyphosate, because you've taken the corn and used mercury to boil it down, and then you concentrate the glyphosate, get a dose of mercury, and it's horrifying. So what I would say is you want to step back and say, okay, what can I do to decrease my total body burden, right? So filter your air quality. That's either a local little filter you have in your office or your bedroom, or a whole house filter, whatever. It doesn't matter, but get something done. Right. And then also water, filter your water to the best of your budget. If that's a countertop, great. If it's a point of use reverse osmosis charcoal filter, great. If it's whole house, you're going to still need a point of use, because there's no whole house reverse osmosis. It takes too long. So it decreases your water filter.
Right. Awesome. Okay. So a lot of patients come to me and ask me about then, getting tested and then getting a treatment or a therapy to get rid of things. So we're reducing our burden, but what about the other side about testing?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of testing. If you're listening and you have osteoporosis, we can pretty much guarantee that you have a high lead body burden, because that's where lead preferentially goes. Right. If you had mercury fillings, you likely have a high body burden of mercury. Loves the thyroid, loves throwing off the thyroid for Hashimoto's and hypothyroidism. So I'm a huge fan of testing and not guessing. You don't want to treat without knowing what you have. So we do a baseline to make sure you're not getting an exposure ongoingly. And then we do a provoked test using something called DMSA. It binds to and pulls out the metals, and you measure it in the urine for a timed period, 6 hours actually. Right. And then it's always higher than what you see, just for the record. And you want to work with a functional medicine provider. You do not want to do this on your own. This is not like I'll go it myself kind of thing. This is a test, monitor, make sure you're safe, oversee, retest, keep going.
Absolutely. Because when that stuff starts coming out, that's a dangerous thing. So you want to make sure you follow on somebody who knows what they're doing. And there's so many who don't and advertise that they do. So be very cautious. And that's where we discussed earlier, go to IFM, their website. I'll have that information. and find a provider who is certified and can do this with you. So not a Google search, please, not a Google search. So, well, and we have just a couple minutes left. Again, I want you to let us know where we can find more information on you and get your book.
Sure. You can get the book off Amazon. I would recommend that if you put in Dirty Girl, you don't just put in Dirty Girl. You put in Dirty Girl Detox Book, Dirty Girl Trubow. Come closer to what you're looking for so that you're not flooded with stuff you don't want. Okay, that's one. And then we have the book on drwendie.com. And I know you're going to put that in the show notes as well as a gift, drwendie.com/gift. And then on Instagram and Facebook at Wendie Trubow MD, and on our bricks and mortar at 5journeys.com.
Beautiful. Lots of great places to find information. And yes, you have added on that free gift to go take this test, this quiz, and then some important information that will lead you down the right road. And I am so happy that you were on today. Thank you so much. I've seen you speak. You're a great speaker. You've got lots of great information. We'll probably have to bring you back and talk about celiac at some point, because celiac is also extremely prevalent, extremely important. So again, thank you very much. And you can find all of this information and more about her, and as well as me and my information past shows. So please go to drpbetterlife.com and find us here on 930 with a radio here in San Antonio. I am available for a consultation here in San Antonio you can go to drpbetterlife.com, find all of my location information, phone number, and all. And then again on past shows and the platform. So Dr. Wendie, thank you. It has been such a pleasure to see you and have you on again. I hope we have you on again. Is there any last thoughts that you would like to put in for today?
Yeah. The one quick thing is, it seems insurmountable, but it's not. You've got this. Don't give up. Just keep chipping away at it. And thanks so much for having me on.
Absolutely. The anxiety, I think, that people get sometimes of feeling like they are living in a world that is out to get them. I've always said for a very long time that the same industry that is trying to save us is the same industry that's trying to kill us. But don't give up. There's a lot of great ways to live and be healthy and do great things. And doctors like Dr. Trubow and me can help you with that. So look us up. But thank you, Dr. Wendie. We will hopefully see you soon.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.